You know what's interesting? I've been watching more YouTubers, and I think this is a great strategy. So Alex Becker, you remember Alex Becker?
Yeah.
High
He used to
Rose,
run the ads on Instagram back in the day, right?
Yeah, very funny guy, right? And he sells like an ad tracking software called 𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧 now, and he has a crypto channel.
𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧 is his?
Yeah, 𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧 is his. You didn't know that? Okay,
I don't know. It's a good software.
Yeah, it's a good software. So 𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧 is a B2B. It's a SaaS software, right? And it's helping anybody, e-commerce or info people or even SaaS people, just better track your Facebook ads, for example.
Yeah,
right?
Specifically Facebook, and typically people, because we know a lot of people who use it, we've seen it. You usually get a higher ROI.
Yeah. So that's what he promises you in the ads, right? He says, hey, if it doesn't work for you, we'll just give you your money back. And so it's a good offer. So his YouTube strategy, so he's got a crypto channel, and every time he puts out a crypto video, it gets like hundreds of thousands of views, right? He created a Alex Becker business channel. I was like, oh, what is this? Because he's very entertaining on the crypto channel. He'll like record with his shirt off, right? And it'll be like a Lamborghini in the background. So it's kind of like a spectacle, right? And he made this business channel, and I think, so all his videos, they talk about 𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧. Like he'll just inject it in there. It's like, yeah, so that's why you got to use 𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧. Like he'll find a way to, like, it's like a Seinfeld email where you talk about whatever and you just inject, that's why you got to use 𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧, right? And so each of his videos get like, 15, 20,000, sometimes 100,000 views or so. And that is better than a webinar, for example, right? You're getting wider TAM, but it's not as targeted, I think, as a webinar. But I do think
it's
that channel,
better for top of funnel.
Yeah. And that channel's starting to compound. And he does talk about, hey, like, I'll show you how, I hit like a $200 million net worth or whatever, and so I think that's a great YouTube strategy. And I think, look, the way you and I record, it's not exactly a spectacle. It's more of like we're lecturing and we're teaching. I do think, like, we're not going to record with our shirts off or have a Lamborghini in the background. But I do think that drives more views because it gets people to talk about it. And I think he carried over his strategy in a way that works for his software. Because the other thing is, the way he creates his ads, he uses like AI ads. He'll like make a version of him like with a girl with like, anyway, we'll just leave it at that, right? But he has a lot more leeway because he doesn't have to bow down, I think, to a big list of investors or a board of directors. So,
I think it's self-funded, right?
Yeah, I do think he sold a piece of it, like a good chunk of it.
Did he?
You can look it up, yeah. But I do think he sold a chunk of it, and then he does have people that he works with now, but he still gets to call the shots.
Yeah, let's see. 𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧 raises. Did he raise money? Marketing Star acquires. Oh, 𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧 sold for $110 million.
Yeah, but he's still. I'm sure he gets a second bite of the apple. So
yeah. Total. No, that's 𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧 Health. Or is this 𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧 Health?
𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧 with the S.
Yeah, I know. I put 𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧, but Google AI overview says 𝗔𝗔𝗢𝗧.
Yeah.
Let's see. IPOs specializes in average marketing attribution. Yeah, he sold it for 110. Good for him.
Yeah. So I think it's an interesting strategy, and I think we've talked about this. The reason you and I are spending more time on YouTube is because we see the power of compounding over a 5-10 year period. And it's how is it going for you so far with YouTube? Would you say it's above expectations, below expectations, or meets expectations for you in the last 12 months? You've been pushing harder, or last 6 months?
So the last 6 months, it's been going below expectations, but I think that's because of the company that was helping me before. I think I mentioned to you, 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗓𝗓.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about this on the podcast.
Right. I don't know what I was paying him. I think at the end I was
25?
paying $25 for 8 videos. I think it was $25,800 exactly for 8 videos a month.
Yeah. Plus
some shorts. And we're doing it for a lot less, and we're using some internal resources. But when I look at the numbers now, my videos that I'm recording, when I was recording a video before, they were 10 to 20 minute record times, closer to 20. Now my record times are closer to 40. And I'm
per video.
Per video.
And each one's like 25 minutes or so, 20, 25 minutes after editing.
Call it 10 to 20 minutes still.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Okay.
A little bit of why it's taking longer is I'm not fully developing the script myself. So someone is helping me do probably 60% of the script, while before 100% of the script was for me.
Because you're making a loom before.
I still am.
Okay.
But I'm spending way less time. Yeah. So in theory, if I actually did 100% of the script, it would actually be more efficient. Just thinking about it right now, because my record time would go down. Yeah. So I should probably go back to doing 100% of the script. Yeah. But my topics are like super technical. And I believe I just saw my first video 2 days ago. while I was at Disney. I was like literally watching it on the phone while in the park, waiting for my kids to finish up a ride.
You didn't even
with
go
my
on the
wife.
ride?
No, I told my wife, I'm like, I got to watch this video. And
I gotta watch this video.
yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, I got to give feedback because I wanted it out. And they were going to post it this week. And I was like, dude, it's too close to July 4th. Let's just save it for next week.
Yeah.
The editing isn't as good, but I'm like, no one cares. If that script is better, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people put way too much time on the video production. And I do think video production is important. You need like a minimum quality, but people want to include all the bells and whistles. And it's just like all those little things for educational B2B content in most cases does not make a difference. And I would say for most educational pieces of content, including B2C, you need decent editing or good editing, but you don't need amazing editing where it's best in class and a mediocre script. I'd rather have amazing script and average editing, and I believe your videos will get way more views.
Yeah. What I'll say is, I would say mine is going according to expectations. I think it'll compound a lot more probably in the next 6-12 months or so. It's interesting because I look at this graph over here. So you look at it a year ago, I might have like an outlier here that goes up crazy, but like it's starting to grow again, right? You can
Is
see
that long form or shorts?
This is long form.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's starting to move up, right? And I think, again, if we just keep doing this, I think the thing, I tweeted this last week, but if there's anything, and I mentioned this before, I won't say we're necessarily the best marketers in the world, but I would say we're the most consistent, right? There's a lot of people right now, I look at them on YouTube, I think they're going to flame out over a period of time because they're just chasing trends. And
yes.
I think if we stay consistent to who we are, then overall, over a long period of time, you're going to win. Now, let me give you some examples. There are some people that just record this stuff on N8N workflows, for example, or the newest AI tools, right? The way I try to straddle it right now is whatever AI stuff I'm testing, but then tie it to business. That's my angle with it. And then you, for the most part, your technical topics, what are they now?
My technical topics, some of them are AI, AI related to marketing. But yeah, I would say overall, I'm trying to get more specific towards enterprises versus just anyone who's interested in content. But if you look at my long form views, dude, they're down 398,000 views on a monthly basis. Keep in mind, I haven't posted a video in a month.
Yeah.
So I'll start posting again.
Hit shorts.
My shorts is through the roof, but they've also changed how they calculate the stats for shorts. Yeah. So it's skewed in my opinion. But if you also look here, I haven't been publishing shorts either. Yeah. So I'll go back to publishing shorts and long form content. When I look at like last 90 days, like check this out. Shorts, it was way better. Yeah. And when I go to long form videos, it was way better as well. Yeah. But the problem I'm facing right now is I haven't published content in a month, at least on YouTube. Yeah. But that'll change literally this coming up week.
If you're in B2B, here's the deal. LinkedIn account-based marketing sucks, but it doesn't have to. With Carrot, it allows you to create personalized ads towards your customers and also personalized landing pages that align with the ads, so you're gonna have higher conversions, and influence pipeline reporting to prove that your ABM works. So if you wanna learn more, just go to carrot.ai and you can join the waitlist. Again, it's carrot, KARROT.ai, and we'll see you on the other side. Before we move into one of your topics, I wanna talk about spectacle marketing. And so when you look at Mr. Beast, his videos, they're all spectacles, right? It's like, oh, here's a $1 date versus a $500,000 date, or here's a $1 boat versus a $1 billion boat, or something like that, right? Now, you saw 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗨𝗧, right? That company, you heard of them?
That was the one where they raised quite a bit of money.
They raised from Andreessen Horowitz, right? So I watched an interview with this guy, and he's a kid, literally. He's 21 years old. This
the guy who like tried to do something during the Y Combinator party or something like that.
Yeah. So he threw like he threw a party, like a legit party, right, where it's like 50-50 ratio, invite only, and then he was getting interviewed by this guy Brett Malinowski, so I should talk to Brett about this at some point, but basically, he's like, okay, YC, everyone throws these networking events. He's like, that's freaking boring, right? I want to do a party where it's a legit like 50-50 ratio guy girl, and it has to be invite only because this could be exclusive, right? But when they first released 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗨𝗧, he had a video that was super high production where he was like on a date with a girl, and then you could see him wearing glasses, and then it was telling him what to say, right? And that's how Cluely works. It tells you what to say or tells you what to do on like a sales call, for example. Like that person saying this, okay, you should know this about this person, right? It's like a heads up display, basically. So
hardware.
No, it's not even hardware. That video seemed like it's hardware. It's actually just software right now. And then he was getting asked, are you going to get into hardware? He's like, oh, maybe, right? Who knows what's going to happen? But his whole thing is he always tries to do outlandish stuff. And so they made a launch video on how they're hiring 50 interns, or how they're paying, like they want an army of these creator interns that they'll pay $50 an hour. And then if they hit 1 million views on a video, they'll bonus them $1,000, right? And then he'll hire these engineering interns and pay $200 an hour or whatever. But his whole thing is like, you have to like stand out. And I do think that's a nice way to get press in the beginning. I think that's a big reason why Andreessen backed them. I do think though, if you keep doing this for the long term, you're gonna burn out, and you're gonna it's actually not gonna compound in a positive way for you in the long term.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Who else does a good job with spectacle marketing? Trump does a good job with spectacle marketing. Yeah. Elon does a good job too, right? But there's a price to pay with that, is my point. There's always trade-offs to this. So I think you can grow a big audience, certainly, but there's trade-offs to it. Versus like Gary Vee, he's always been consistent about positivity. So it's really hard to like burn him or try to go after him for something. So you trade-offs.
People, no matter what kind of content you create, people still do go after you. If you look at Gary Vee, a lot of people go after him. I wouldn't say as many as...
Not as many, though.
Yes, as the ones who do spectacle marketing.
Yeah.
And you just have to get good at ignoring the haters. Because like, generally speaking, if you watch Gary's content, someone could try to hate, but there really isn't anything to hate.
There's nothing to hate.
Yeah. And when people hate on him, it's of silly things. But if you actually look at what Gary's done as a career, he's done extremely well in multiple industries, multiple exits.
Yep.
He's a great entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people just hate because of jealousy more than anything else.
Yeah, it's usually an internal thing. It has nothing to do with them. And so, but I do think when you do spectacle things, you do increase a surface area of people that are watching you. And like, by the way, you know, it's not like, I mean, you've tested in the past, right? In certain situations. Yeah. And so like, you've seen what the trade-offs are.
And I think you can do spectacle marketing in many different ways. You can do like the Mr. Beast running with different amounts of money in a backpack and not saying anything, because that helps you get more reach globally, at least on some of the platforms. Mm-hmm. You can do stuff like Alex Becker. I think he used to do a lot of Lamborghini stuff. I could be wrong on the car type.
Yeah, it's a lot of make money online stuff.
Yeah. You can do stuff like Alex 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗨𝗧, where I would say he does it. He has content without his shirt on, at least in some of his videos.
Yeah.
Or showing that he's buff or jacked.
Yeah.
Right? There's different ways of it. But what I found is nothing beats just creating a really good product. Like, look at Lovable. You know, Lovable is getting a ton of press. Mm-hmm. What kind of marketing is Lovable really doing?
Not much. It's
a
great product.
I think they're at, in 6 months or something like that.
70 million?
I think it was 60 million in ARR.
Yeah.
In like 6 months, or 50 million in ARR. It was one of those figures, but it was fast growth, a lot of revenue in a low period of time. And when you look at the publicly traded stocks, the biggest companies don't do any form of this kind of marketing, spectacle marketing. They just have a really good product or service in a big TAM.
Yeah. And, you know, by the way, you talked about Lovable. So I read this post from this person that works at growth there. Her name's Elena. And she talks about how she's worked at all these high growth startups before, right? But at Lovable, literally everything is built through AI. Like if like prototypes are AI, like everything's done through AI. Everyone's AI first, right? And they're just moving a lot faster. And she wrote out this post about the AI native employee. And that's kind of where we want our employees to be, right? But they actually are living it. And then when she wrote about the experience, I'm like, this is where things are going. And I think this is what all founders complain about right now, because they want their companies to become that.
Yeah. So I showed you before we started recording the new version of Answer the Public, right? Mm-hmm. It's quite a bit different than the existing one. It has more features. Guess how long? And the existing one's built on Ruby on Rails.
Haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah. So they're getting rid of all of that existing technology and rebuilding it. Guess how long it's taking them to launch a whole new version of a product with more features?
A month?
I wish. 2 months.
2 months. That's still pretty fast.
We have existing users, so you got to pour, right? So there's some extra work, but
that would have taken you like a multiple of 3 to 4x before, maybe longer.
dude, the existing person who was running that company was just like, yeah, it'll take a year. And I was like, how do we end up fixing and changing all this stuff?
1/12 the time. Oh, no,
A year.
1/6. Yeah.
The existing person
I kept thinking a month.
The existing person was really good. We just wanted to go a different direction with the product. And I was like, all right, let's just run this lean.
Yeah.
AI is here. We're going to adapt our products. Everyone is used to traditional search. We're going to revamp it all for AI.
Yeah.
We're going to revamp it eventually. Like I was even talking to the team. I was like, when you look at marketing products, and you even have Carrot for ABM.
Yeah.
But well, I was telling people, I'm like, we're thinking about products wrong. And they're like, why? And I actually had a call with them this morning, and today being July 4th.
They're not celebrating July 4th, are they?
These team members were in Brazil. So
they're here
for them, they're working. Yeah. And I wouldn't force anyone to work during a big holiday.
Yeah.
But when you look at the app, forget just our app. When you look at most marketing apps, they tend to all give you tons of data. Would you agree with this? And I was like, this is wrong. And they're like, why? I'm like, we're moving in a world where people aren't really paying for the data. Even before, they weren't really paying for the data. They're using the data to get a specific outcome. Or they were hoping to get a specific outcome from it.
Yep.
Like, oh, you give me keywords. I'm going to use this data to go create content, get more traffic. The traffic generates more sales or leads, and I generate more revenue.
Yep.
And I was like, why don't we just tie in the whole funnel or workflow and just do it for people?
Yep.
So it's like, you do the research. Okay, you got the research. Ask them where they want to create content. For what platforms? Recommend the type of format of the content. They can select which versions they prefer, create it, have them sync to their platforms, post it, collect the data, and then figure out what's working and what's not, and then continue, and then revise what you recommend and saying, these are the topics recommended. Here are other popular ones, but these ones have not done well on your platform, so we recommend these. Can you please approve us to go create content for you automatically? Yes. Here are the outlines. Looks good. Cool. We will create it. Can we post it on these times? Yes. Approved. Automatically done. Once it starts going, then you start asking, hey, can we just create the content without sending you the outlines and without your approval? And you start eliminating steps. They may say, no, we still want to see the outlines. Or they say, we don't need to see the outlines, but we want to see the final product before it's posted. So then you start going through this and like, cool, you can start automating a lot of marketing for corporations. It's not going to be perfect. I don't think it would be as good as having a team combined with AI. But for SMBs that barely have money, they would gladly pay $100, $200 a month for something like that instead of hiring people because they can't afford the people.
All right, that's it for today, guys. We will see you tomorrow.